I don't really want that. Is that usually the size that y'all see it at? Isn't it usually bigger than that? Oh.
No, it's on the document. It was small.
Well, I just inserted it into Notebook, so there we go.
Yeah.
All right, that's better. Okay, so let me make double sure we're recording. And I'll work a problem and pause and see if you have a question. So don't ask your question beforehand, please. Okay? Just in interest of time and in interest of me making sure that you have everything you need to know. All right, for this test, the only thing you've got to be able to factor for the exam is factor out something in common, like the first 2 pages of the factoring packet. That please keep up with that, and we'll pick up on that the week after the exam, okay? You do not have to be able to factor what we call a trinomial yet. However, you certainly should be able to answer true, false, and multiple choice questions on them to get you started thinking about factoring. So you can find out if this one's true or false, even if you don't think you could factor that based on what you learned last year. Most of you probably could. But I can certainly just FOIL it and find out, can I just distribute and see if it's true or false? So everything that is a factoring that you're going to learn to factor, you'll have the ability to check it by multiplying it out, okay, like this. This gives me x squared minus 1x minus 10x minus and minus give me a plus 10. So the first one would be false. Victoria, you might want to take care of that later because a bunch of people can't see. Okay, so anyway, do y'all see that would give me a negative 11x and a positive 10 in the back? And so I distributed and I did not get this expression. Simple algebra. Okay, so I'm moving on unless you have a question. Okay. This one is also false. This is a big deal for our class that you need to pick up on. You're only supposed to raise like this one means negative 2 4 times. Okay? This one means the negative of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. The negative is not included in the fourth power. Okay? And so this side, I'll circle it in blue, this side, a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. This is just telling me to take 2 to the fourth, which is 16, and then make it negative. So on one side I have a negative 16, and on the other side I have a positive 16. So that one is also false. Remember how much this year I have been so adamant about putting things in parentheses. If you want to square negative 2 and get 4, you better put it in parentheses, because this is really only telling you to square the what? The 2. So it says square the 2 and make it negative. Do you see it's 2 different things? What would you say if I asked you if this was true or false?
True. Well, there's no negative. Oh, right. It's false.
Raise your hand for false. Okay, because on the first one, what's the only thing being squared? The b. Nobody told you to square the a. Exponents only apply to what's directly below it. So this first one just remains ab squared. The second one is a squared b squared. Parentheses make all the difference in the world. Okay? So what is the answer to this? That says to square the 3. What does this say? Square the negative 3. This one is 9. This one is negative 9. It's a really super important, you know the difference. All right, any questions so far on 1 and 2? All right, number 3. I'm sorry, that didn't, I think on your paper it looks better than it does here on the screen. So let's look at it back on the Word doc. I may have even posted it as a PDF. Oh, Hopefully it looks better on where I post. Oh, well, I just picked that up where I posted it.
Instead of 2.
Yeah, that does it look like that on your?
No, it looks like y equals like parentheses.
I want the 2 to be up in the air.
Yeah, that's what it's like on here.
Okay, so on the one that I sent you, it is squared?
You can just command comma.
Right, I just want to make sure that you're seeing what I want you to see on the document I sent you. So the one that was just printed out, Sophia, has a squared up in the air?
Yeah.
Good, okay. So it just didn't translate well onto this. All right, so what you should see on this one is this should be x plus 3 squared minus 4. Get a thinner pen. All right, so this is y is equal to x plus 3 squared minus 4, and it's talking about shifting the graph of y equals x squared. So let me pause and make sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. Like on your document, you actually see the squareds up in the air as an exponent. So let's just forget this, okay? And everybody look at this. That'll take my parent graph x squared. Will this go left 3 or right 3? Left 3, down 4. Left 3, down 4. True. That one's true. So transformations. So we've already reviewed 2 or 3 topics in the first 3 different topics in the first 3 questions. 2 lines always intersect at one point. Raise your hand if you vote for false and tell me why. All right, Sophia, why false?
Because 2 lines can go any direction. They can go straight up, vertically or horizontally, so they don't
would.
have to intersect.
Maybe you're saying what Maria's going to say, but right now I'm not. If they're vertical and horizontal, they will intersect at one
No, if
point.
they're both vertical or they're both horizontal.
Okay, so Maria, what word am I looking for?
I said false because if they're parallel, then you can't, they won't intersect.
Also, we had this strange occurrence where they were actually the same line. Do y'all remember the ones that were infinite points? But the main thing is what Sophia, Maria, and some of you had your hands up for. If they're parallel, they don't have to intersect, so that one's false. Okay? 2 lines do not always intersect at one point. Now, number 5, the slope of a vertical line is undefined is true. We also called that no slope. Those two, that's different from zero slope. No slope is like this.
It's the no hope one.
There's no hope. It's undefined. You can't tell me what the slope is because you're falling so far. Okay? There's no hope. Thanks, Susan, for remembering that. No slope, no hope. Okay? But if I say the word undefined, I want y'all to know it means there's not one. Hey, girls, I'm not saying it's zero. I'm just saying there's not a slope. Okay? So, you know, those of you that ski, when you get your skis on the edge of that and you go, I don't even see the slope. And you know that you're going to be maybe, if you're a better skier than I am, you just zip right down the black slope. But if you're like me, you might kind of zigzag your way down and hope that you live. Okay. Horizontal lines have what slope? Remember how I told you this? Horizontal have what slope? Susan?
Undefined.
No, those are vertical lines. You're not going to die with a horizontal line. Horizontal line have what, Sarah?
Zero slope.
Zero slope. That's why I circled the Z. Horizontal lines have zero slope. You're not going to die, but you're going to have zero fun. This is zero fun, zero slope. This is no hope, no slope. That word also means undefined. Okay? All right? Okay, so that's a bunch of stuff on lines coming up here. All right, the lines y equal x minus 1 and y equals negative 2x plus 5 intersect at 2, 1. Hey, girls, there's a few ways I could work this problem. I could graph them on my calculator if I know how and go, I wonder if those intersect at 2, 1. Just a second, Margot. I'm going to only take questions at the end of each problem, okay? I could also do elimination or substitution, or I could just fill in the point and see if it works at both of them. Y'all see that would be pretty smart to do? Also, as a teacher, I like to give you standardized test-taking skills. And almost all your standardized tests, especially the ACT, is going to be multiple choice. On the SAT, you have some that are not multiple choice. Some of them are what they call grid-ins, but almost everything's multiple choice. So a good test-taking skill is if I have an answer, why don't I just plug it in? All right, so you know I'm a fan of parentheses, so I'm going to go y equals x minus 1. All right, which one of those is y? 1. And which one is x? 2. Is that true? Does 1 equal 2 minus 1? Hang on just a minute. No, I just filled them in for y and x. Oh, I see what you're saying, Maria. No, I actually have like the number. I don't have like, I'm just putting in for y. So what is y over there on that point? What is y on that point? 1. And what is x? 2. I'm just filling in, okay? I'm not doing transformations. So 1 does equal 1, so that's true, but girls, it has to work in both lines. So let's try it in this line. Y is equal to negative 2x plus 5. I'm going to put my y coordinate, which is right here. I'm going to fill that in for y. And my x coordinate, which is right here. I'm going to fill that in for x. All right, let's see what I get. On this one, I get 1 is equal to negative 4 plus 5. Isn't that also true? It worked in both of them. To me, that's the fastest way to work the problem. If you want to go off on your scratch paper and do elimination or substitution, you can, but I wouldn't. If I say, is this the answer, just see if it works in both equations, like always for the rest of your life, okay? Questions on 1 through 6. Yana?
So for 6, can it be like two different numbers, but if the equation is correct, then it's fine. Like, so 1 is equal to 2 minus 1. So you got 1. But like if you plugged in like 2 or something for the y, and you got 2, that would also be fine.
I don't think so. I'm not sure what you're saying, but I asked if the point 2, 1 is where those intersect. That point 2, 1, there's no reason to even talk about another point. I'm not sure what you're saying. I just want to know if 2, 1 works in both of those equations. If they intersect there, it's got to be on both of them.
So both have to get the same answer.
They don't have to get the same answer. It has to work in both of
It
them.
has to work.
So I see what you're saying now. Let me try this, Yana. Let's say if I have this. All right, girls, every time I go off to a new slide, I'm super reviewing. I'm reviewing like a topic that you really need to know about lines right now, okay? Let's say if I have 2x plus 3y equals 5 and 4x minus y equals 3. And if I say, does the point 1, 1, if I say, is that where they intersect? If they intersect there, that's the one point in the whole world that they both share. Think about when lines intersect. If they intersect, isn't that the one point in the whole world that is in both this line and this line?
Yes.
So that's why I'm filling it in. So I'm going to go 2x plus 3y and see if I get what's predicted, which is 5. And here I'm going to go 4x minus y and see if I get 3. So if I fill in 1 and 1, is 2 plus 3 equal to 5? That one worked. If I fill in 1 and 1, is 4 minus 1 equal to 3? That one worked. So if I heard you right, these numbers don't, those don't have to be the same. The question is, if you fill in the point, does it work in the equations? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right, anything else on 1 through 6? Margot?
Well, we have like graphs. For
Okay, any questions on 1 through 6? Any questions on 1 through 6? Like on how I worked 1 through 6. Okay, and the only reason I'm doing that is to keep a structure. If I start going off-road, we're not going to get a good review in. So I'm going to keep on moving, okay? And you'll get your question answered, I promise. All right? So let's go to number 7. Bella, do you have a question on 1 through 6?
Well, is
I don't want a question about anything but 1 through 6. Anytime you want.
okay.
All right, so, okay. The line has an x-intercept of negative 3, 0. Girls, I'm just going to fill it in, okay? Does that have an x-intercept at negative 3, 0? An x-intercept means that you have a line that intersects the x-axis somewhere. Y'all know an x-intercept? Watch, the x-intercept is in red. And the y-intercept is going to be in green. Do y'all see the x-intercept and the y-intercept? All right, so sometimes we want you to find the x-intercept, but this is a true-false. So what can I do with this? Couldn't I just fill it in for x and y? So I'm going to say 2x plus 3y equals 6. Okay? X is negative 3, and y is 0. We've done this before. I get negative 6. What's 3 times 0? Does negative 6 equal 6? So guess what this one is? False. That's option 1. Option 1, and working number 7. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped number 7. Sorry. Time out. Regroup. Because I had drawn on it, I skipped number 7. Let me get rid of this. Of course, in the video, you can still see everything. I accidentally just did number 8. It's false. How are you going to find the slope of a line? Let's go back to number 7. You want to get it in what form, Sophia? Slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? So I'm going to, thank you, Sophia. So I'm going to subtract 2x. And that gives me 3y because these cancel. And where have we been putting the 2x when we're working with lines? Where do we squeeze it in, Jillian? Right next to the equal sign. So Jillian and I are going to put it right here, negative 2x minus 6. And then we're going to divide by 3. Raise your hand if you could tell me the slope. I hope that someone can tell me the slope of this line. Sophia?
Negative 2 over 3.
Hello? Thank you, very good. Y'all okay? Y'all should know y equals mx plus b. Do you know the slope? You just didn't want to say it? Okay. Slope is negative 2/3? Okay. All right. So is the slope negative? True or false? True. Y'all were scaring me. All right. Option number 2 on number 8. Number 8, if I say the x-intercept, I don't even think there is an option number 2. I think I would just fill in the point. So I'm going to do it again, number 8. 2x plus 3y equals 6. I'm going to put in negative 3 for x and 0 for y. I got negative 6 plus 0 equals 6. That's false. If I had gotten something like 6 equals 6, then it would be true. That means, yes, it works in this equation. All right, so moving on. I'm just going to erase this. Remember, in the video, you'll be able to look back and see what I wrote for each problem. On number 9, the standard form of y equals 23. I don't think that's 23x on the actual packet. On the actual packet, what is it? 2 over 3. Okay, sorry it came out like this on this document. So this on your packet says y equals 2 over 3x minus 4. Is that what it says? Okay. Standard form. Standard form, you want ax plus by equals c. Okay? So I want to get x by itself. And so I tell you what I would do to this first is get rid of all the fractions. Does anybody know what I can multiply by to get rid of all the fractions? What can I multiply through by? Anybody know what I can multiply through by to get rid of all the fractions? Sarah, do you know?
I think you multiply by 4 and 1.
I'm going to multiply everything by 3.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I meant what to multiply.
Oh, gotcha, yeah. I'm going to multiply this by 3. I'm going to multiply this by 3. And I'm going to multiply that by 3. That gives me 3y equals 2x minus 12. Standard form. Am I in standard form yet? Standard form, you want your x and y on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 2x. So it gives me negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 12. But your lead coefficient, the front one's got to be what? Positive. So I'm going to multiply this by negative 1 negative 1, negative 1. That gives me 2x minus 3y equals 12. This says, where am I? Oh, it says it should be 2x minus 3y equals 12. It looks like I got 2x minus 3y equals 12. And so that one's true. So number 9 is true. There's other ways that are a little faster to work that, but if I just stay consistent, let's do that again. I'll do it down here in the black. So doing number 9 was y is equal to 2 over 3x minus 4. If you have one of these on the exam with a fraction, you can multiply 3 by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply this by 3, I'm going to multiply this by 3, and I'm going to multiply that by 3. That gives me 3y. These 3's cancel, that's why I did it, equals 2x minus 12. From here, a few students know a quicker way to solve, get all the things on one side, which I'm not going to go over right now, but you're welcome to move things to the right-hand side. To be consistent with y'all, I'm going to move my x over here. Negative 2x goes in the front, 3y's next, and I have a minus 12 over here. And it has to start with a positive. So I'm going to multiply by negative 1, negative 1, negative 1. 2x minus 3y equals 12. All right, number 10. By the way, let me pause for a minute. The purpose of a review is to flag for you and give you practice on all types of things that could be asked on the exam. If you struggle with standard form or intersecting lines, that means go back to worksheets, go to Delta Math, practice all those things. If you can't find something that you want to work on, like your old test would be good to work again. Okay, the packet, if you're flying through this packet and it's easy for you, you're ready. If you're getting stuck on a topic, pull out the test on that topic or worksheets, and that just means you need to practice this some more. All right, number 10. On number 10, it says f of x is equal to x squared minus 3. And what does this ask me to do? Go to x and fill in what? Negative 2. Did y'all see how I put parentheses on that? So negative 2 squared is 4 minus 3, and I get 1. I didn't get what? 7. So this one's false. Word of warning. This is really testing to see if you know algebra. If you typed it into your calculator like this, your calculator would say negative 7 and you'd say true, and you'd miss it. What have I tried to teach you to do if you're filling in for x? Always put what? Parentheses. Okay? So it's a great question. All right, anything on 1 through 10? Susan?
Could you go over the interval notation one?
Anything else on 1 through 10? Anything else on 1 through 10? Okay, so now we're going to grab the next 10 off the document. So
Oh my Jesus.
Sure. All right. Now, those of you at the packet, make sure that we're all seeing the right thing, because apparently it's not translating very well. Okay, number 11 is true. I think somebody said they think that's right. You are right. That would shift your graph up 3 units. Number 12.
That was the one I was.
Okay,
that
but
was-
Susan, I'm going to only answer questions on the ones that I've just done, because if I just start willy-nilly, crazy taking questions from here and there on the packet, you'll get a horrible review.
Okay.
So I refuse to do that. Okay, so if you'll just follow my lead and trust me, you'll get a great review. Case in point, I'm at the question she wanted. Okay. All right, interval notation. This is going from negative 3 to 5. If you have less than or greater than or equal to, you put a bracket. If it's just equal to, you put a parentheses. So number 12 is true. So let's practice some of those. Okay. So what would this mean? If I have -4 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 7. I would go from -4 to 7, and I would have a bracket on both. What if you have x is greater than 4? That's going from 4 to who?
It would be like parentheses 4, comma, infinity parentheses.
Wonderful. You are very, very good, Susan. You always put parentheses on infinity because you can't include it because it keeps on going forever. Y'all okay with that? All right, so that's your interval notation. That was true. All right, so any other questions on 11 and 12? All right, number 13, the graph of y equals -5 has no x-intercept. Raise your hand if you can show me in the air what y equals -5 would even look like. Good. Look at Bella. Look at Rebecca. Y equals. Thank you, Sophia. Y equals. That means I'm going to go to the what axis? The y-axis, and I'm going to go through -5. Here it is, girls, in red. Y equals -5. Does it have an x-intercept? X-intercept means it would cross the x-axis, right? So the graph of y equals -5 has no x-intercept is also true. All right, so to review that topic. So looking at that topic, okay, a vertical line would be like x equals 5. That would go through the x-axis at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has an x-intercept but no y-intercept. Do y'all see that? And this one has no slope or undefined slope, either one of those words. Okay? If you have y equals 3, go through the y-axis, 1, 2, 3. That one's horizontal. But you see how I knew to go through y equals 3? Does it have a y-intercept?
No.
Yes. Well, yeah, it can have X.
It doesn't have an x-intercept, it has a y-intercept. Okay, if you're tempted right now to talk to your neighbor, please don't so that we can have a good review. All right, number 14. And double check your sheet, girls. Hey, I really don't want to talk over anybody, so no even whispering right now. And I'm so not being mean. I'm being super, super aware of how much of a good review we could get done if we keep doing it my way. All right, in the packet, does it just say 3x plus 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's equal
Show me in the air, without talking, what y equals 3x plus 5 would look like. It would be a what, Bella?
It would be it wouldn't be a parabola, it would be straight.
3x plus 5 would be a line, wouldn't it? Y equals mx plus b. It'd really be slanted because y equals 3x plus 5. Hey, girls, stop. Thank you. You can put your arms down. This has a slope and a y-intercept. But the big deal is it's not a parabola. Show me in the air without talking a parabola. That would not make a parabola. Wouldn't it have to have a squared in it?
Yeah.
So I'm just seeing if you know your parent function. So this one's false. So if I said this is a line, you would say yes. But I said it's a parabola, so you say no. A parabola would have to have a parent function of x squared. Any questions on 14? 13 and 14? Okay, Sophia and Maria have already answered this question. A pair of parallel lines is a system with no solution. That is true. All right, now let's see where we are in our review. Number 16. I'm not asking that you're good at factoring yet, so raise your hand if you know how the best way for you to answer this question right now. Bella?
Well, just to maybe like make it, you could add a foil or just
I'm just going to distribute it out.
Make a teacher.
Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to FOIL it out. That's going to give me, you could do that, Bella, you're right. but we're not. X squared plus 1x plus 5x plus 5. I want to pause before I finish this problem because I don't want you to panic and go, I've got to know how to factor. You don't. You have to know how to factor something in common, which you haven't been asked to do yet. Okay? This is just things that you've done before. You're just distributing. Do I get x squared plus 6x plus 5 true? Okay? Sorry, I maybe erased that too soon. I just erased it so I have room to write. That gave me x squared plus 1x plus 5x plus 5. All right, number 17. A function, none of the x's can repeat. Wow, does that look like that on your packet? Okay, that's a really weird question. What was my original? Number 17. Girls, it was supposed to have this in it. I need to rewrite it. This was supposed to be a 4. I don't.
The X.
Danielle, y'all aren't supposed to be talking. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're not the only one, but listen up, okay? So before I move on, does anybody have a question on 11 through 16? Daniela?
16 wouldn't it be false?
This is x squared. All right, so x squared plus 1x plus 5x plus 5 gives me x squared. What's 1x and 5x? 6x plus 5. All right, any other questions on 1 through 16? Sophia, I don't want anybody talking to each other. I'm pausing after every group of problems and saying, do you have a question? Because if you're talking, you're going to miss the next one. I'm going to keep on doing it my way, which is real unusual. Usually the class is not like this, but this is important. If you follow me, it's going to be awesome. Okay? Any questions on 1 through 16? For me. You can study with your friends later. Everybody, 1 through 16?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the parabola again?
It's an x squared. It looks like this.
It's the U.
It's the u.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Everybody look at 17. Did y'all see that x? That should be a 4. Sorry about that typo. That should be a 4. This one is a function. That is true. A function, no x's can repeat. Okay? As we've added people to this class, our class still functions. There wasn't a new Margot. There wasn't a new Rebecca. If somebody came in that had the same name, all of a sudden it'd be kind of confusing. But everybody has a different first name. It functions really well. So all you've got to do is see if there's any x's that are the same. So let's review that because that was from the first of the year. All right, so if I have this list of points, 1, 4, 2, 6, 1, 8. Do you see how these x's are the same? That is not a function. But this is 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. I see lots of 4s, girls, but it's still a function. This one is a function. Watch this. I'm going to graph them. 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. A function has to pass the what test? Does that pass the vertical line test? Okay. Whereas if I look at this set in green, I would have 1, 4, 2, 6, and 1, 8. Would it pass the vertical line test? Okay. So 2 things to know about a function. No x's can repeat. If you have a list of points, if you have a graph, it has to pass the vertical line test. But doesn't the vertical line test tell you if x's repeat? Okay? The y's can repeat. We don't care. The x's cannot repeat. Okay? All right, so let's go to number 19. Number 19, I'm just gonna do this on myself instead of ask for a question. 18, thank you. I wanna know if these are parallel, so I need to know their slopes. Can y'all see the slope of this one is -2? So I'm gonna get this one in y equals mx plus b form. 2x plus y equals 4. I'm going to subtract 2x. That's going to give me y is equal to, where do I put my x? Next to the equals? -2x plus 4. Well, the slope of this one is -2. The slope of this one is -2. So are they parallel?
Yes.
Parallel. True. All right, so to review that. By the way, I should have said this when class started. You might have wanted, and some of you are maybe taking it on this paper, which gets really tight and close. From here on out, in our next review, you may want a blank sheet of paper just to write notes on, because it may be stuff you want to put on your note card like this. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have what we call opposite reciprocal slopes. An example of same slope would be y equals 5x minus 7 and y equals 5x plus 1. As long as they both have the same slope, they're parallel. Opposite reciprocal slopes, an example would be something like y equals 2/3 x plus 4 and y equals the complete opposite, -3/2x plus whatever, it doesn't matter. Do you see how those are turned over and opposites? Those will be perpendicular. Bella, better be a question on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's like one half for perpendicular, would the complete opposite be -2?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Good question. All right. So now I want to know if these are perpendicular. So we're about to hit that problem. All right. So can y'all see the slope here is 1/2? And we just did this one, didn't we? So that one I got a minute ago to be y equals -2x plus 4. That's -2 over what? 1. So are they reciprocals? 1/2, 2 over 1, and are they opposite signs? So this one is perpendicular, true. The zeros of a function are the same thing as y-intercepts. Look at this. You may not even understand what all those words mean. Okay? Here is a graph. Here is a parabola. Tell me when you see some zeros. All right, so say now, say stop or something when you see some zeros.
No.
Okay?
No.
Well, technically that's kind of cheating, because wouldn't it go up forever and hit 0? Sorry, but does that have zeros? That does not have zeros. I know it has a y-intercept, but 0 is the same word as what? Can y'all see when that actually equals 0? Let me show you what I mean. Suppose this is money. Let's make it something we care about, okay? All right? Are y'all listening? So say that, I started my company. I don't have a company. I'm just making this up. Suppose that we started a company in 2020. And so we would look back in time. Do you see if I look back? I'm sorry. Say I started a company in 2018. So if I forget the years. Suppose I started a company 2 years ago, okay? Then you might see, oh, wow, look how much money you're making. But if you wanted the history of my company, wouldn't you look back for when it started? Okay? So where are the zeros of my function? When am I not making any money? Because all of a sudden you're alarmed at what I project into the future. This was 2 years before today, but in 1, 2, 3 years, what do I think is going to happen? unfortunately, it looks like that I think something's going to happen to the market and I'm not going to be making any money again. Here, I am making money, right? Okay, so do y'all see what I mean about zeros of the function? All right, so do you see these? I'm going to get them in blue. Okay, so do you see when it hits 0 is not this one? Let me get rid of that one. So zeros are the same thing as x-intercepts, and so number 20 is false. Think about what a y-intercept would look like as opposed to what an x-intercept would look like. An x-intercept is the same thing as a 0. So let's put that on our sheet. So remember, this is on the video where I'm writing some things on these last slides here. All right, so x-intercepts are the same thing as zeros. Things you might want on your note card, by the way. There's lots of things, but you might want the forms of a line, like slope-intercept form. I think Sophia referred to that one, or Bella. That would be y is equal to mx plus b. Point slope, very good. Y minus y equals m times x minus x. And standard, very good. Okay. All right. So keep a blank sheet of paper. Don't start your note card yet, but have a blank sheet of paper that you're writing things on. That I think is a good suggestion. I'm going to do 21, then I'll see if there's any questions on this page. Yeah, I don't think she's here, but you can try. Okay. So this will move my function right to up 3. So this one's false. This is going to go right to, not left to. All right, any questions on through 21? I hope you see what I'm doing here is that I'm stopping and reviewing a bigger topic. That's why I'm doing it this way, okay? It'll help you when you get to later problems. Daniela, anything on only 11 through 21 right now? Not something later, not if I'm going to ask something, not a format. Anything?
Number 19.
Uh-huh.
I'm confused because isn't it the opposite of it? So wouldn't it be negative 1/2?
It is. No, the opposite reciprocal. They're complete opposites. Like 3 over 2 becomes negative 2 over 3. So 1 over 2 becomes 2 over 1, and it's negative. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so what would happen with 1 over 3, Daniela? 1 over 3 would become 3 over 1, and it would be negative. Opposite reciprocals, like everything opposite. Yana, 11 through 21?
So then wouldn't that in 19 be false since it's 2x plus y, not negative 2x? Yeah.
No, this one is true. They are opposite reciprocals. The reciprocal of this is 1/2. Sorry, this is 1/2. Tell me what the reciprocal of 1/2 is. So what would its opposite reciprocal be? That's what that slope is. These are perpendicular. The slope of this one is 1/2. The slope of this one is negative 2 over 1. They are opposite reciprocals. They are opposite reciprocals. Perpendicular would be, Maria, hang on. You can put your hand down. If I have a slope of 4, what would the perpendicular slope be? What's the reciprocal of 4? No, what's the reciprocal of 4? 1 over 4. What's the opposite reciprocal? Those are perpendicular. If I have a slope of 2, what would the perpendicular slope be?
1 over 2.
Negative 1 over 2. They're opposite reciprocals, not just reciprocals. Girls, these two numbers are what? What are these two numbers? reciprocals. Are those opposite reciprocals? No, those are reciprocals. If I wanted to be perpendicular, one slope would have to be 2/3. The other one would not just be 3/2. It would be negative 3/2. It's not hard. Opposite reciprocals. If I have a slope that is 2, then the other one's got to be negative 1/2. Opposite reciprocals, which is what was happening on 19.
Okay, I think I just got confused because one was in standard form, so I just didn't realize that you moved it to the,
You don't know your slope until you get it into this form. Let's do that later. Go sit down. Donna, you're not going to know the slope until you get it in y equals mx plus b. Okay? To know your slope, you get it in y equals mx plus b. All right? You can't just look at the equation. You don't know your slope at that point. Unless it's already in y equals mx plus b. Okay? Opposite reciprocals. All right, let's move on. So let's go to the document again. So that we've gone through 21. All right, so we're going to kind of try to speed through some of these because some of them we've already talked about. Okay, remember what I've asked about talking, Victoria? No talking, okay? It's okay, I forgive you. All right, so now we're on 22 through 29. We're going to move a little faster. All right, is this a function? 0, 2, 3, 10, yes. No x's repeated, I don't even care about the y's. X cubed minus 2x plus 1 is a quadratic equation. That is false. We're going to make a note, and x squared is a parabola, but another word I've used for it is quadratic. Those are synonymous. Okay? It's just like if I said add or find the sum. Do y'all see what I mean? All right, so show me a quadratic. Show me a parabola. Okay? But this one's not either one because it's x cubed. It does this. Remember that one? Okay? That one doesn't even have a name. S-curve, S-curve, it doesn't. Oh, I'm sorry, it does, Bailey. We call it cubic. It's cubed. Okay? Quadratics are squared. Quadratics are squared. How am I going to tell if those are the factors? I'm going to distribute. So this is going to give me x squared minus 2x minus 2x. A negative times negative is a positive. As somebody noticed a second ago, you add like terms. This gives me x squared. What's a negative 2x and a negative 2x? Negative 4x plus 4. I don't, somebody's talking. I don't know who it is. Let's don't. Are these the same? Those are not the same. That one's false. I just foiled it out and did not get what was asked. This one is false. Okay. I cannot stress enough that if you attach something to x, which way does x go? It affects it left and right. It will not have any, if you attach it to x, it won't have anything to do vertically. It'll go this way. If it's hanging on the outside, it affects it this way. Where do you see this 3? On the inside or the outside? The only way for this to have any kind of horizontal anything is if it's stuck right there. Okay? If it's out here, it affects it vertically. And so that one's false. All right, now, how in the world will we attack 26? We studied these even before we studied parent functions, but watch how you can do this now. Here's x squared. Where would x squared minus 4 be? Where would x squared minus 4 be? Down 4, Jillian, down 4. And you probably need a reminder of what an even function is. an even function, and an odd function. An even function looks like this. This one is actually even. Whatever's over here is also over here. Whatever's over here is also over here. That's even. So this one is not odd, this one is false. All right, to review, even and odd. And you'll run into them later in the packet, which is why I'm doing it this way. So to review even and odd. Y'all remember doing a picture like this on a test. If it's even, it's symmetric to the y-axis. If it's odd, it's symmetric to the origin. So this would flip over down through there. That should sound familiar to you. We did it first semester. Okay? Odd goes like this. Even is evenly distributed. It's like we did symmetry with our face. We probably looked at some people's face if they were symmetrical. It was kind of funny. I probably pulled up an app. But our faces are not completely symmetrical. It's really unusual. But my eyes are here. Corner of my mouth are here. My face is like an even function. Okay, this would be like an odd function. It goes in the opposite over the origin. Okay. Also, well, no, that's not always true. I was going to say you could look at the exponent, but that's not always true. All right, going back to this. All right, the graph of the equation y equals 4. Y equals 4. Show me y equals 4 in the air. Thank you, Rebecca. Y equals 4. This says has no y-intercept. True or false? False. The line 2x plus 3y equals 7 has a positive slope. Let's go back to what Yana said. I don't know the slope yet. I've got to get in y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to subtract 2x. Jillian and I are going to put it right next to the equals and then divide by 3. Does that have a positive slope? False. The systems of equations has no solution. Well, what's the only way a system of equations is going to have no solution is if they're what? Parallel. How are you going to know if they're parallel? You need to know their slopes. So we need to know our slopes by rearranging it, right? All right, so on this one, I get y is equal to negative 2x plus 5. On this one, when I subtract 2x, I get negative y is equal to negative 2x plus 3. Do I know my slope yet? I don't know my slope yet. I have to divide by negative 1 or multiply by negative 1. That would give me y equals 2x minus 3. Do they have the same slope? So this one is false. The only way for two lines to have no solution is they would be parallel. All right. Now, before we do these last few, hopefully I'll squeeze them in before we go. I'm keeping an eye on the time. Listen carefully, and you should realize as you review over the weekend that, and you already should have started to realize as we were getting through more of the problems, true-false is the trickiest part of any exam. It makes you really have to understand it. And I've already reviewed lots and lots of topics in going over the true-false. So when you see it on multiple choice, it should be easier, but I should have mentioned lots of things on your packet. Let me fly through this one. The range of a function is negative 2 to 5. Remember me doing this line for range? Negative 2 to 5? Okay, I don't know if you can see it very well, but this goes back to Susan's question a little while ago. The negative 2 is blocked in, blobbed in, colored in. Is the 5 colored in? I don't know if you can see it from where you're sitting, but it's an open circle.
Yeah.
And so this is actually a true statement because it hits negative 2 and it never really hits 5. Domain's going from negative 7 to 6. 6 has an open circle. So this one is false. The domain should be -7 to 6 with an open parentheses because of the open circle. I'm sorry, with the parentheses. The function is decreasing from 0 to 6. If I look at this from 0 to 6, is this decreasing from 0 to 6? That's increasing, isn't it? If I start at 0 and head towards 6, I'd have to climb uphill. So that one is false. The function is negative between -7 and -6. Sorry, I won't grab this. All right, from -7 to -6, is that negative?
Yeah.
That's true. The slope of the line segment between -7 and -4 is 1/2. Does it look like it's going up? It looks like to me it's going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2, rise over 1. That one's false. The slope is up 2 over 1, not up 1 over 2. The graph fails the vertical line test. Sorry, I just messed that up. But I think y'all know that's false. If I ran a vertical line across it, that one's false. My goal today was get through the true false. This is the hardest part of the review. So with a lot of, y'all please be leaving. Make it to your class. Please have a lot of confidence as you get to the multiple choice, okay? I also listed things you could omit, a few problems. If you saw that in the assignments. I'll continue to do that, okay? Email me if you want to meet. Margot, are we meeting at like 2:20? Okay.